welcome everyone. So this is our College and Career Day. This is our fourth time doing this event. We change it a little bit every year, but we keep a lot the same. So we're really excited. I will introduce kind of the format to you and what happens after right now. So right now we're going to do an opening panel. We've got some special guests that I will introduce in a moment, just to kind of share some general advice and thoughts with you all to get you in the mindset to think about college and career. After that, we've got 2 sessions of workshops where you can choose the topic that feels most relevant to you. I will go over those workshops in detail before we split up, but that's kind of the general format of today. Families and students are welcome to go to different places if you feel like you have different interests or you want to divide and conquer and get as much information as you need. That's great too. So, I'm very excited today. We often have one person speak for this opening part, but today we've decided to have 4 panelists come to share some advice with you as you kind of embark on this journey. So I'm going to ask my panelists to come up now, and then I'm actually going to have them introduce themselves. Great, so if each of you could just say your name and whether we have some alum up here and we have some representatives from colleges, so whether you're an alum or where you work, what college you work at, and then we'll get started with questions.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ricardo Bonon. I graduated in 2009 from Somerville High School. Graduated from college in 2013, and I actually volunteer here every other Friday, actually working with Melanie.
Good morning, my name is Paige Lane Miller. I am an alumni here from 2008. I graduated with my healthcare management degree in 2012 and my MBA in 2015.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Allison Handy. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Admissions at Middlesex Community College.
Hi everyone, my name is Sean Ashburn and I work in undergraduate admissions at Tufts University.
Great, so we've invited our 4 panelists here because they have a variety of perspectives to help you kind of figure out, as you're figuring out what you want to do after high school and how to go about that. We thought they would have some advice to share. So for our alumni, a lot of our students take different paths: 4-year college, 2-year college, work, military. So can you talk to us about why you took the path that you did after high school?
I'd have to say the reason why I took the path that I did was I actually played basketball in college, so I got recruited by a lot of schools. It came down to Salem State, Riviera College, and WPI, Worcester Polytech Institute, and I decided to go to Worcester Polytech Institute. Originally, I wanted to major in psychology because I wanted to be a guidance counselor, which is one of the reasons why I still help out now. But I had to change my major, so I ended up graduating management engineering with a concentration in manufacturing engineering. I currently work at Raytheon in Andover. But that kind of was the reason why I decided to go to WPI, but I did have to change my major, which is, I don't regret it, but it's value add now, I guess.
All right, the reason why I picked the career path that I did, so I was a basketball player here at Somerville High School. I played throughout my high school years, so I was on the varsity team. I wanted to play basketball at a 4-year college, so I was determined to be in a 4-year college. So I got recruited and went off to Springfield American International College, where I played for 2 years. I actually was undecided major because I wasn't sure what career path I wanted to go through. My parents wanted me to be a nursing student, and I definitely didn't want to go into nursing school. I decided to be a healthcare management major, where I wanted to be in the healthcare arena and grow there, so I decided to take the business route of healthcare. I then graduated from there and went for my MBA. I wanted a broader version of business and the curriculum that I didn't have as a healthcare management focus. So.
As we talk about kind of, first step is thinking about what path you want to take, right? But then there's actually taking that path, which is quite involved as well. So the actual application process. Could you both talk about what the application process is like at your institutions? And feel free to expand to, Tufts is different than UMass, and Middlesex might be different than Bunker Hill, but your specific institutions, what is the application process like, and how is that similar or different to other 2 or 4 year institutions?
So at community colleges in general, the application process, and I'll speak specifically to Middlesex, the application process is there is no application fee, there's no application essay, and pretty much for our open door programs, which is a lot of our programs, you're going to apply and you will get in. As long as you graduate from high school, you will get in. We do have programs now that are what we call selective programs, and we have a lot of medical majors, and then some of the majors are non-medical, but they have additional requirements because we have certain accreditation standards from various organizations that require a certain level of student achievement before they are admitted to the program. One of the things I will say about community colleges, and you look at the admissions process, a lot of people will ask and they'll say, well, how come there isn't more required? Are students going to get the quality education at a community college because you don't have a hefty admissions requirement? And one of the things I'll tell them is, we're not looking at how you did in high school, because we recognize that students will always have a time where something challenging, something difficult and unexpected comes about. So we're not rating you on how well you did in high school. We want to make sure you graduate, and we want to make sure that you're capable of doing the work. So they'll take their college placement tests when they come in so that we can place them accurately. But what we're looking at is where you are right now in your journey. Whether you had a time in high school where you just kind of blew it off, or whether you just had difficult situations, we're looking at where you are right now. Are you ready to do this journey? Are you ready to now take on and work hard to show that you're able to do this? We have students who come in who are honors students. We have students who come in who are, who may need developmental coursework, students who come in at the college level. We have a whole range of students. But what we're looking at is, are you ready to make the commitment to be successful in your life? And we're opening the door to everybody to take that opportunity and now do something with it, despite what's occurred during those high school years.
So I'll start off and say, just like there are a lot of differences between 2-year colleges and 4-year colleges, even within 4-year colleges, the kind of application and admissions process really varies a lot. So there are some 4-year colleges where they use a primarily sort of number-driven system to decide which applicants are admitted and which ones are not. So they might just look at a graph of a student's GPA and or SAT scores and use that to determine who gets in, who might be waitlisted, so students who are sort of in a maybe zone, and then students who are denied. There are other colleges, often private universities like Tufts, that practice what's called holistic admissions. And that just means that we use a whole bunch of factors to really decide which students we want to accept, partly because we get a lot more qualified or strong applicants than we have space for. So because we have a small acceptance rate, we really want to decide the students who are the best fit for us and the students who are most really excited about our school. And so we're able to use, obviously, a student's academic achievement from high school, looking at their grades and their test scores and the classes they took at their high school as really important factors that predict kind of their level of academic preparation for our school. And on top of that, we look at sort of personal factors and think about, what is this student's, area of interest? What are these students' passions? What are they thinking about doing in the future? What are their priorities? What are they enthusiastic about? What are they excited about? All of those are sort of bigger factors that aren't really on paper that we can get a sense of from each applicant through things like letters of recommendation that come from their teacher or their counselor, from the activities they've been involved with outside of the classroom, and especially from the essays that they write. So at Tufts, we require 4 essays from every single applicant, and we spend a lot of time reading those because they tell us about the student's voice and their personality and their interests in a way that helps distinguish each student from another. And so that's a really important factor in us being able to build a community that we think is going to be diverse and engaged and excited and enthusiastic, And so that's a really big part of our process. The other piece is that we really want to see students who, feel connected to the specific mission and fit of our school, right? So we're, primarily a liberal arts college, and that means that we want students to come and get a broad range of education, to not just specialize in one area, but to see value in studying kind of across the whole academic spectrum. And so when we're reading applications, if a student says, I'm really excited about Tufts because I want to be a nurse, well, number one, we don't have a nursing major, and number two, that's very much a sort of traditional or narrow career path, right, where a student's going to get intensive training to be able to go on a specific career path, and that's not really the vibe of our school. And so that's a part of our review. It's a part of how we read applications, and there are a lot of very highly selective colleges like us that sort of do things that way, in that we want to see students who get what we offer and are actually seeking the experience that we can provide.
Thank you. So as you, for Beijing and Ricardo, as you hear them talk about the college process, you might be having flashbacks to your own experience, hopefully positive ones. Can you talk about what your application process was like in high school, maybe who you worked with, or maybe it was, just you doing it on your own, and kind of who your supports were and any advice you have for going through that process. What was your process like senior year? Who helped you, and what advice would you give?
I'd have to say I had a lot of help from my older sister. She's only a year and a half older than me, and she actually went to Somerville High School, so she kind of helped me through the process. My mother doesn't really know too much about the process. She's actually from Haiti. She doesn't actually speak English as well. The guidance department definitely helped me out a lot, and this is kind of why I come back and help out myself, because it can be a stressful process. It's not easy. And when you're applying to so many schools, all schools have different requirements, so I would have to say, I would recommend just using the resources. They're here to help you. They're not too far away, they're in the same building, as we know, so just utilize the resources you have, ask a lot of questions, and just be persistent.
The resources that I reached out to were pretty much the guidance counselor that was provided for Somerville High. I asked a lot of questions. There was also the Boston Public Library that helped me with financial aid, because I'm a first generation student, so my mom didn't really know much. She just provided all the resources that I asked for to get the proper stuff to complete and done at the deadline that was needed. But my recommendation is pretty much just ask questions, because the resources are there.
So I'll open the last question up to everyone, and then we'll ask the audience for any questions that you all have. So you're getting a warning that we're going to ask you for questions in a minute, so start thinking. So my last question for you all is just general advice. So we have a variety of students in the room from 9th through 12th grade and families, or we actually probably don't have any 12th graders, 9th through 11th grade. And who are in various places in their process. So what advice do you have as they're maybe just starting to think about this process, or maybe they're in 11th grade and they're really feeling like, man, I really got to dive into this. What advice do you have for them as they figure out their path, or just about kind of going through the application process? And anybody who feels the most excited can start.
I'm really big on planning. I do a lot in work, and I tend to over-plan sometimes. So it's never too early. Just because you're a 9th grader doesn't mean you can't start thinking about college. Doesn't mean you can't start thinking about your career. It's very difficult, and even now I'm starting to think like, I don't necessarily like my job 100%, but it definitely does what I need it to currently. And I do so many things outside of work that it kind of keeps me busy, but I like to plan everything out to a T, so I would definitely recommend planning and starting the process very, very early.
Just to piggyback off Ricardo, I would say planning is really important, of course. I would say go on college visits. Like, try to put yourself in situations where you could experience what this college has to offer. Make a list of what you like and don't like, and it kind of helps with their decision from there. I'm sure that the admissions would love to take you on a tour and show you around and share all the information about the school. So being in the school environment helps out with the decision. So if you make a list and schedule those appointments with admissions, then the process will be a lot easier.
Just to expand upon what she just said, I think going to visit a college is probably one of the most important things you should do. As you prepare for the application process, that's important too. But I think one of the things that you get by going to visit that you don't get by just filling out an application and doing research online is that you get to feel what it's like to be on that campus. You'll get to see some of the students, you'll get to see some of the faculty and staff. You'll get to see the environment that you will pretty much be living in for however long you're at that institution. And it does make a difference in terms of your overall experience there, whether or not you feel welcome, whether or not you feel like this is someplace I like, whether it's the suburbs versus the city. Some people will tell you, I love the city life, but if you choose a campus that's suburban and it's tucked away and you're not used to that lifestyle, it is kind of challenging when you first get there. So you're really thinking about that transition overall, but going to visit I think is important. In terms of figuring out your pathway, if you're someone who's sitting there, sitting here, and you're saying, I'm not so sure what I might want to do, whether it's your parents think one thing and you think another, or it's just you conflicted by so many different majors and potential careers, a suggestion is to volunteer. You don't have to commit to long hours. You can say just 1 or 2 hours. I just like to come and see what a day in the life is like with someone who's a counselor, with someone who works in a dentist's office. And you pick that person's brain. You say, tell me what's your best day like, tell me what's your worst day like. And then you can make notes and you can determine for yourself, can I handle the best day and can I handle the worst day? I think one of the most challenging things to do is to just kind of go off and say, you know, this is definitely what I want to do. And you haven't done any background checking of, is this something that I can handle for the rest of my life? Because whatever career path you change, the long-term hope is that it's something that you're going to love for the rest of your life, not something that you're going to, you know, love for 5 years and then in 5 years say, oh my gosh, this is not what I want to do. So I would strongly recommend, if you're uncertain, go volunteer and chat with someone and say, can I just pick your brain for a little bit and get a sense of what it's like?
I'll actually echo both of Allison's points in that if there's an adult that you know who has a job that seems really interesting and cool and appealing to you, if you have a conversation with that person, ask them to sort of work backwards to the important points in their life, whether that's other jobs they had or their education that sort of allowed them to have access to that career path and that career opportunity. Sort of think through what was their journey and how can you maybe follow that or mirror that. What are the opportunities that you need to take advantage of to be able to get to where they are if that's the spot that you want to be at. Also along the lines of college visits, I think if you're in 9th or 10th grade, don't go into that process thinking that you should be going to visit schools to see if you love that school. Just go into it with sort of exploration in mind, right? So if you're going to go visit a place like BU or Northeastern, you can think of that as like, okay, what does it mean to go to a large university that's right in the heart of a city? Or if you go to visit a place like UMass Amherst, what is it like to go to a campus that's farther away from the city? Rather than kind of focusing on the particulars of do I like this school or not, if you're just starting out in this process, you just want to get a sense of the setting and the culture and the academic opportunities and the sort of, you know, what's available as far as resources or experiences in that place. And then you sort of over time get to narrow your list and think more specifically about individual schools that you like. But when you're just starting out, keep it general. Keep it about location and majors and size and setting, and really just focus on those kind of bigger, broader categories before you commit to anything. I think my last piece of advice, especially if you're really early in this process, people will ask, you know, how do I best prepare my application to get into a place like Tufts? And more than anything to do with extracurricular activities or essays or interviews or any of that, the number one factor for us and for so many other schools, whether they're 2-year or 4-year, is really going to be the academic achievement that a student has had in high school. So more important than anything, if you're thinking of going to a 4-year college especially, working hard and earning good grades in the classes you're taking right here, right now, is the actual number one thing you can do to be able to set yourself up for success.